Craig's here. Now the party gets to start. We're back. Oh crap! It's Ghost Noah Industries Dragon Quest 6 again. Please donate to giving.mskcc.org. If you've been paying attention, we took a 3-month break between parts 4 and 5 of Dragon Quest 6. When you're listening to this and you're not me editing, it's going to be about 2 months between parts 5 and this one, which is 6. And most importantly, we're at nearly a 6-month break since Max was here. Welcome back, Max.
It's great to be back. I'm excited to see what's up with the quest.
So have you been watching the videos? I'm glad you haven't, because we've discovered that Dragon Quest VI is, in fact, the nadir of the series.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's not very good. I've prepared though this time. I have a list of topics to bring up to let people kind of gauge my disinterest in this game. So I have 4 things in no particular order. Here we go. Number 1. Brendan Fraser in general, but specifically in Doom Patrol.
I mean, that's a great topic.
Yeah, no, I picked some good ones because this video that we need to watch is 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 31 seconds long. So essentially, okay, I realize now this has officially just become, the Geoff podcast hour with his friends. I am really not going to talk about Dragon Quest VI for the remaining ones I have done. I'm just going to do them. It was suggested I go to longplay.org and just take somebody's video and talk over that. But I feel
great.
It's a great idea, but I feel like it's letting me off a little too easy.
I think it would be betraying yourself, honestly.
Yeah. You know, what is doing any creative medium if not, a little self-flagellation? So we got that one.
You got to suffer for your art.
Yeah, you do. And speaking of that, number 2, the Boston accent of Eli Roth in the movie Inglourious Basterds.
Oh God.
Now you're not a native,
I'm not. It's true.
Bostonian, but you have been there a bit,
Yeah, I've been here since 2007. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of familiar with what I'm talking about, both in general and that movie.
Yeah, you know what? Not to get into it right away, but I will tell you right now, I thought he was supposed to be from the Bronx.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was listening to a back episode of Mr. Joe Kasabian's podcast, Lions Led by Donkeys, where he was reviewing that movie, and his co-host, whose name I forget right now, was saying, I thought it was supposed to be a New York borough accent as well.
Yeah.
But I'm almost positive it's supposed to be Boston. Like, I'm sure there's something about the socks in there. I'm almost positive. It's
No, I mean, I totally believe you.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, but you're not the first person to say that, let alone today that I've heard say that, and I love that. Big one, number 3. All right, one of the best prime numbers, so I stuck it there, and we've been talking about it just in concept, I suppose. Homestuck.
Oh God, yeah. We should really have a sit down about that.
I mean, we could go there first. This was in no particular order. This was just, as I'm reading them. But I have for those at home, I don't know what a Homestuck is. I've had many people try and explain it to me, and nothing's really stuck. Not because I've tried to not pay attention. Just there's a lot to it.
Well, I think I'm only around 3,000 pages in, so I don't really know what it's about because apparently it's
8,000
in the process of still kicking off. Yeah.
Oh, that's still going. Oh wow. Wikipedia
No, it is.
Live.
It is done. It is done. But like the plot apparently kicks into high gear roughly where I stopped, recently.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I will get back to it. It's a fascinating subject.
Oh my. So fourth and finally, but by no means least or last, because it's in no order. This one I think is my favorite. Getting into lifting weights again as you push 40, or as I like to call it, aging without grace.
It's funny you should say that because my return to the gym is tomorrow.
I bought those not the dial knob dumbbells a while back. The power blocks. Hey, there we go. I bought some of those like 3 months ago, and I'm loving it. Um, yeah, it's a fun time, and as a man pushing 40, why not now? Why not me?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, especially now you gotta do something. Use it or
Yeah.
lose it, as they say.
It's you're down. It's a downhill walk every day, so you might as well do something that's not
Right.
completely destructive, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna go, fellow New Jerseyite Joe Piscopo with it. I mean, I don't think I really have the follicles for that sort of curly mullet. But I did have Midge yell at me the other day when I was pointing out that, how long my, weird dead cat's getting, that I just kind of, I comb to the side and I pomade it. I don't know if I think you did. So yeah, if you're not following me on Twitter, let's pull that one up. That's a good one. I noticed something the other day when I was, just doing some goofs as I do, and of course I opened the private. All right. So somebody was doing kind of one of those, celebrities you look like things
Hmm.
recently. And I sat down and, I had kind of a decent look in the mirror. Yeah, so on February 23rd, I cut my hair again because, I do it myself. I did for a while. I took a break when I lived in a place that had Men's Day haircuts on Saturdays where for $20 you got a beer and a hot dog. And most people thought it was a prank, so you tended to walk out with many beers and many hot dogs because they were just going to go to waste. Yeah, great for me. So here it is. I cut my hair, and as I looked in the mirror, I realized something. I've essentially been cosplaying as Jeffrey Combs as his character, the FBI agent that inspected cults in The Frighteners for about three
Oh
years
man.
now. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Um, and I don't regret it, but that's a look. That's a look.
I'm looking through your Twitter right now to see if you had posted a picture of that haircut.
Not of
Am I?
mine because
Is
I
it
don't.
Is it March 4th here? I'm seeing a
No,
picture
it's
of Jeffrey
Feb
Combs. Okay.
February 20. I'll post it in good old. There you go. It's
Okay.
in
Yeah,
it's
that
in
is the
Discord.
picture I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Although I guess I haven't seen you since October. But
I
unless things have really changed, I think you're being a little unfair to yourself. For one thing, you don't have the muzzle lines of
well,
a later era Jeffrey Combs.
um, but don't worry, we're still gonna suffer. We got Dragon Quest, so we should probably
Yeah.
get to
Let's
it,
let's
huh?
dive into it, huh?
All right. Uh, yeah, I got no idea really where we are. I believe this is, though, going to be one of the last videos with random encounters. I got to the point when I was starting to record these again where I said, I've really just had enough. The early Dragon Quest games do tend to have an issue with just lots and lots and lots of battles that didn't get fixed until later games. So I went hunting through all the Game Genie, Game Shark codebreaker codes I could find to get rid of it, and none of them worked. Then I was playing again this weekend, and I noticed after an hour or two in that I wasn't getting any battles. So maybe they started working, maybe I corrupted the ROM. Who can say? But I'm glad.
I do like the marching formation in these games. It's very fun to see like the whole party like that, and then like a wagon.
Yeah, we get some jokes about the wagon, throughout of like, oh, I sure wish I knew some people that had a wagon I could go hide in, and then you have
Mhm.
a little cow print slime that joins your party. Yeah, these are our bats. All right, geez, all right. So our topics: Brendan Fraser, Eli Roth Boston accent,
Right.
Homestuck, old man weightlifting. I don't know. What are you feeling?
Well, I mean, Brendan Fraser. I'm pro
Okay.
Brendan
Yeah.
Fraser. I think he seems to be living his best life right now.
I didn't. I started seeing stuff about the comeback of Brendan Fraser, and I was happy to see it. I remembered, an article about, I believe it was his son, that had special needs, and he was doing
Yeah.
course stuff with him, years ago. And I was like, good for you, Brendan Fraser. And then he came out about why he really left Hollywood, and it's like, I want to buy you a sandwich, Brendan Fraser. And I didn't have that DC Direct, so I didn't even know he was doing stuff again. And like last week, I discovered that I have all of Doom Patrol to watch online, and just started plowing through. And man, I love that Cliff Steele. What a great feller.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of the comics, so the show is really fun because it kind of understands why the comic was good.
The comics are something I always had lots of people telling me to get into, but being one of, and I know they kind of took breaks, but being one of those, it started in the 60s and was still going, and people were telling me to read. It's like, there's too much here.
Yeah,
I don't, and there's not, and there wasn't really like, it wasn't like I could go buy out the Doom Patrol equivalent of, yes, here is all of the Secret Wars and Infinity Gauntlet at the time.
Oh god. Yeah, I guess when I say I like Doom Patrol, what I really mean is I really enjoyed Grant Morrison's specific run bringing back Doom Patrol after it had been kind of on hiatus. It was kind of I'm probably going to get some factual details wrong here, but, it started in the 60s and, like, ended in a way that was pretty uncommon for the time because they just killed them all. A bomb went off and they all died. That was the way it ended, which was pretty shocking for the decade it happened. I think that was still the 60s when they did that.
I believe so, yeah. I was going to say, I had thought it had ended a couple of times. Like, I know Morrison runs the big one, but it was pretty much every time they ended, they did, like, the Young Ones deal where everybody dies, everything blows up.
Yeah. that is basically it, yeah. The Grant Morrison run basically ends with Jane and Cliff basically recusing themselves from the world and, retiring to Wudan Mountain, but instead it's actually Danny the Street that they just decide to live in. They're basically like, fuck all of this.
Oh, Danny.
And then it was almost like immediately brought back by another, with another writer whose name I'm escaping, but...
We're at, so I will comment on this section of the game real quick. This is another one of those puzzle mazes. So this is the DS. I cut off the top screen because, really 90% of the time there's nothing useful there. In this case, in the dungeon, it is because you can see the second screen above you. So you need to climb up and then shimmy over and make drops. But even with the two-screen layout, you really can't see exactly where the good place to drop is. So you can, if you're very lucky, you can do this multiple times. And also, it's a little bit touchy with like where those handholds are, so you can't just fall off. If you're very responsive and not at all weird, hardware, let alone emulator controller, is not up to snuff.
Oh yeah, I could see that being really finicky.
Yeah, and ultimately, you want to get your MacGuffin right here, the golden pickaxe, to break rocks and get a MacGuffin so that you can get a flying bed. Spoilers. There you go. We're here for a flying bed. But yeah, I'm into the second season of Doom Patrol, the show, and I'm like 5 episodes in. I finished watching the Sex Party episode. That was great.
That was a very good episode.
I never thought I'd reach a point in my life where I said, I really like the concept of sex ghosts, but hey, here we are. They just want to be, horny in the afterlife and with other ghosts. It's not like they're haunting you.
Yeah, no, that was a really fun episode. We need to watch the 3rd season here. We have not gotten that far yet.
Every time you come to these roadblocks, you have to go into your inventory, select, and use the MacGuffin to keep going on. They did not quality of life you that, if you just have it and, mash the action button, it will automatically break it, like later games do. We're still...
Geez.
Yeah. And I believe there is only one later, and it is fairly later dungeon, that still wants you to use the MacGuffin to break stuff. Which, okay, you're getting some use out of it, but, by that point, you you can't. I don't think you can throw it away, but you could forget that you shoved it in your bag of garbage and have it to use. They thankfully lampshaded a bit, like, oh geez, if only somebody had some sort of pickaxe that was golden, they could probably break through this floor, huh?
Hey, the software team worked really hard on the rock breaking technology, so they're gonna just put it everywhere.
I feel like if you got to put a hint that's blatant in there, perhaps maybe just don't, just maybe just you mash the action button. It's like, there's a loose floorboard, pry it up. Or don't even give you the prompt. You found and pried up a loose floorboard. There was a previous invisible floor lights go on, lights go off puzzle prior to this one that was really great in the control stick being a little over or under responsive, as well as it kind of having vacuum ledges when you get too close, and just, hey, great job, you're in the basement, tramp your ass back up there and try it again.
How fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah, I remember that, one episode from me ago when we were watching you do the mine carts. I was like, this feels like it could get kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it can. But I'll say
that.
But that
sounds a lot more frustrating because there's not even really a puzzle mechanic to it. It's just about like aligning the pixels properly so you fall where you want to.
Yeah, and I will say, like, there wasn't a point playing 5 where I needed to put it down, walk away, and just do something else for a while. I enjoyed the game. I thought it was, it had heart. It was fun. The little monster gathering party thing was, pretty fleshed out and wild. This one has 2 you can get right away, then a 3rd, 4th that you get, like, in the last act of the game, I think. And to make them useful, you got to do a lot of grinding. The other ones, it just felt like a more fleshed out, thought of part of the game. This one, it seemed like they finally wanted to move a bit away from more or less the standard formula they had been using and didn't have good results. There's a lot of, like, what is the reality that's going on? Are you who you think you are? But whether it's hardware limitations, writer limitations, or both, it just didn't quite land for me.
I wonder how much of that is kind of like a reaction to like Final Fantasy X. I don't know the timelines here, if those line up or not.
This was still Super Nintendo era.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I don't know the years off the top of my head. Let's just put a stamp in it and say Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy VI were, contemporary games.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that's about right.
This is a DS remaster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so they, prettied stuff up and added a couple other. They had, like, the bonus dungeon. I don't think they add any, like, extra party members like they do in the remake for 4. 5 is radically different in regards to the monsters you can recruit depending upon which, console you're playing it on. But it's just like you can have more or less. It's not like they structurally change it. Oh, speaking of monsters, here's our first guy we get.
By Ghoulie.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray!
It's
I do love a creature incapable of not making puns based around what it is.
I'm glad because we are going to get of our 4 monsters we get, 3 of them are going to be slimes, so we're yeah. Although one of them, if we get to it here, actually no, we already got him. We got him last video. So one of them is the slime knight, which is a knight riding a slime, like those like. Do you remember those jump ball things that were kind of before our generation, but they were still around when we were kids that you kind of hop around on?
Oh, like, you kind of sit on them and bounce?
Yeah, you sit on them, yeah.
Yep.
So it's basically, yeah, imagine a knight and, like, some full male just waving his sword in the air, and with his other arm, he's kind of clutching his shield and holding onto the slime and just bouncing around like a maniac. That's the guy we got. So they classify him as a slime, but I don't know if it's, like, Does the slime also kind of ooze into the armor, and it's like a weird Master Blaster thing? Is it two different slimes? Yeah, I'm not quite...
It'd be kind of weird if it was one slime pretending to be riding itself.
You say that, but they also have the Amalgamated Slimes, which happens when 8 slimes show up in battle. They amalgamate and become, you know, a king slime. So it's not a non-canon thing that a slime could do something so wild.
Yeah, the slime taxonomy here is a lot more deep than I thought it was.
Yeah, and a lot deeper and more terrible. Than you'd think. Sleepy cat. No.
That's not wicked.
Yeah, no, just let it do its thing. I don't think the other ones had this. I discovered later, and I think when I was doing the next video stuff, I found the Fortune Teller, which is basically like your Earthbound hint guy. I'm lost and I don't know where to go because this game is just painful. Please help me. Here's my money. The one I got, it is, but like whereas the Earthbound guy was very useful and direct and explicit, when I finally found that she existed, and I have been playing along with the strategy guide. I do want to make that very clear. Maybe I missed it, but I don't believe the guide mentioned that the fortune teller existed. So when I got to her, it was fairly late in the game, and she's like, and it was something essentially along those lines. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe try going someplace you've never gone before. Which, you know, go fill out the map. And that wasn't it. It was essentially the solution, but also, you know, it could have been a bit more specific or direct.
This is kind of funny because I've been playing Elden Ring.
Yes. And
there's kind of a first for those games, I believe. There are characters actually giving me a bit more. Yeah, there's a map. That alone is huge. But
I've been co-oping, as you know, but others probably don't, and that's fine. Dark Souls 1 with Joe, and it makes the game fun, way more fun than, you know, it is solo. And I have gained the ability to read those ridiculous fan-made maps. I link them to Joe, and he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to just direct me. These are terrible."
I remember squinting at those, trying to figure out where I even was on the map.
I've gotten really good at it, but I am excited, both at the prospect of eventually having a computer that could run Elden Ring and a FromSoft game that has a map.
Yeah, and so when I first entered the world, there was a cryptic person in a mask. Huge change for...
You're blowing my... So,
yeah, I know, right? It's a huge... And he made fun of me for not having a maiden.
Oh, I've seen that picture going around. Okay.
Yep. Kind of homophobic. Just kidding.
Yeah. Maybe I just, you know, want like a really big sword. Why can't a really big sword be my maiden?
Yeah, exactly. Why can't like 2 giant scythes be my maiden?
You know.
But I just happened to go back to that area for the first time in hours of play, and he was there, and he had new dialogue, kind of cryptically telling me what to do next. And I was like, in From Software terms, this is, you know, the equivalent of a quest marker in terms of just really holding my hand.
Also interesting, guy who insulted me terribly now is maybe kind of being nice.
He's also suggesting that this whole endeavor is a bad idea.
Which,
fair.
Par for the course, yeah. You know, it's an interesting concept of, you know, objects as maidens, because one might say that in Inglourious Basterds, Mr. Eli Roth had a baseball bat as his maiden, and man,
that was absolutely his maiden.
Was that Boston accent great? One of the things that was talked about with him too was, you know, Eli was the bear Jew, you know, and I grew up in a place where like I had a lot of Jewish friends that had a lot of big hulking dads. So like when I heard that, and I didn't think about it until it was being discussed in the podcast episode I was listening to, but like, you know, I pictured like one of my friend's dads. It was just like a big dude, you know, like,
yeah,
pushing 6 feet, maybe a little over, definitely like over 250, just like
Yeah,
a
like a
big
true
guy.
bear.
Yeah, a true like bear dude. And as they pointed out, like, all actors are tiny. There's a few huge ones, like Dolph Lundgren's kind of tall. But generally, they're in the like 5.5 foot tall range. So like they could have just found one of those guys, but like instead, as they pointed out, it's just a lot of weird creative shooting of Eli. Oh yes, this is a camera maze. It's great. I loved it. I loved it so much. Just want to show it off. It's one of these. So yeah, I didn't notice it when I was, watching it, but now I'll check it out. But yeah, they do kind of shoot him creatively to hide that like he is a tiny man whose nickname is that he is a bear. And I don't think it is fully.
They do a lot of it's been a while, but as I recall, they do a lot of like setting the camera just on the ground and pointing it up at him.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, like, it's not like a fully metaphorical nickname. Like, I get that he's supposed to just be like, no, like a big hulking guy who is also Jewish. Therefore, he is the Bear Jew. Yeah. But I mean, hey, ultimately, the point is, doming a Nazi with a baseball bat, great. Just, that is, say what you want about that movie. Just more of that. Go full, Rambo with a gun that has maybe 20 some odd shots in it, going for like 3-minute straights. Yeah, sure. I'm in for that.
No, I think that's one of my favorite Tarantino movies, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's a very fun one. But his accent, interesting. I think it was, Proper Geoff that first introduced me to the concept of Yeah Dude when I was living with him in Alston. And it kind of feels like he is going for, like they said, do a Boston accent. So he thought of the one he knew, which is typically that one. That you like, if you're not going just like old-time Irish cop, I feel like that's the Boston accent people go for. Right?
Yeah.
That sounds fair? Okay. So I feel like you went for that one.
Or just, like Whitey Bulger,
Well, were we doing the Whitey Bulger hagiography movies yet?
No, those came later.
Okay, so we had some time.
Those came after Inglourious, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We weren't yet rehabbing him. We're fighting an evil man that loves the maiden. There you go. So I feel like it was do a Boston accent. He knew the Yeah Dude one. And then either, I don't know, maybe we can give him credit. Maybe somebody reminded him, this is set in World War II. So that's how he tried to, like, do an old-time radio, to it. And we ended up with, is he from the Bronx?
Yeah.
Is he from Brooklyn? Is he like the Dodgers?
Yeah, just like, even modern depictions of Harley Quinn talking with an accent that no one has had in real life since 1953.
Oh man, hey, fifth topic. Oh geez, Peacemaker.
I'm a fan. It was really good.
I saw a thing where, well, one, I love to harass my wife because I love her because she's great. And one morning she was doing something in the kitchen, and I started my normal I'm going to do a bad thing prank where, I kind of giggle and start clapping my hands. And I said, hey, Midge. She goes, what? I go, this. And I started blasting, Vigvam from the TV. and I was fully, put in my place because she is so much smarter than me and I love it. And just started giving me, didn't do the name an album. Name all the albums. Just started giving me the history of the band Vigvam. And you know what? I deserved it, and it was wonderful. But, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, like, the bands referenced in that show are generally just, like, completely outside of my experiences. Like, because, like, I like, growing up in Missouri.
I was gonna say you grew up in the South, not like going to South Jersey. That is where, like, I'm familiar with a lot of that. Like, I dare say everything that's not like the contemporary side of like hair metal, like the Vigvam stuff, like that I know. Oh, I know that very well from just that was what was on the radio in Jersey, man. Like if you were born in the like early 80s.
Yeah, no, hair metal did not, hair metal drove across the Mississippi River, and there were some pickup trucks waiting for it on the other side, and then chased it right back out. And that's not entirely fair, but I didn't have an older brother with a motorcycle, so like I didn't have anyone to teach me that kind of stuff, and that's certainly not going to fly around my parents anyways.
Mm-hmm. I did love though seeing the talk promo stuff from the shows you're ready to air from Gunn, where he's like, yeah, just pay attention to the intro every time you watch the episodes, just like it says a little more after every episode you watch, and damn does it ever.
Best introduction of any TV show, I think, honestly.
I saw it when that was the promo, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I really want to watch this show. And then indeed, yeah, after every episode I watched, every time I watched it, I noticed something new because it's a very dense intro, and I like that about it. Things get recontextualized. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they get a little a little sad almost at certain parts.
Yeah, and going from a wrestling fan who saw John Cena come in and then let's just say overstay his welcome. I kind of like the John Cena rehab tour that's going on of him just being a guy in movies that's fun to watch.
I feel like he's got a sense of playfulness, that is really lacking in recent action stars.
Yeah. And fingers crossed here, because he is a Massachusetts man. He has not done a Hulk Hogan level racism that I'm aware of, and I really hope that it stays that way.
Yeah, I'd love to not have to revise my opinions on him.
Yeah, there's a wonderful person that I follow. I'm blanking on the name right now, that puts out the monthly, this year in wrestling matches to go watch, and who was the champion in blah 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 promotion. And anytime Hulk Hogan is one of the answers to it, they always insert an offensive name like the Orange Cheeto, the Burnt Hot Dog. And you know what? I love it, because fuck you get to lose your name. you don't deserve it. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, no, I mean he's canceled.
No, they put him back on the television. If you can make a buck, you get to come back. But scumbag. Shocker, public sports figure is scumbag.
Yeah.
Dude who did a bunch of blow. Oh, sorry. Hey, we're in the stealth. Now we're gonna talk about the game. Let's get away from that. Stealth action. Sir, do you like stealth action games? Do you like Metal Gears? Tactical stealth action. Is that a thing you're into?
Oh yeah. Big
okay.
fan.
Guess what? This might be the game for you. We're gonna go on some stealth action here. See the hot, sexy muscle man in that mask? We're gonna follow him. We're gonna see what he's up to.
I thought he was part of your party because he's been following you around.
No. This is how fast he walks, by the way. He stops, does the looky-loo, and Okay, so I'm playing this on emulation. I do have the actual cart. That's one of the items my brother left to me. And hey, once again, giving.mskcc.org if you feel so kindly. I don't have a means to capture a 3DS or a DS, so I've just been playing the ROMs. This game marked where, and I don't know why, because every other Dragon Quest up to this, I could save state, I could load state, I could fast forward and rewind. I can only fast forward. If I save and load a state, the game crashes. So, yeah, I get no mulligans unless I go to the church and save and reload the long way. So, I believe I cut it out, the complete screw-ups. I don't know if I did a blooper reel, but this is not a one and done. This took a while, and I believe this is why I took another break between filming sessions after doing this one. I don't know if I finished off all the video. No, I didn't. I believe it was after this session I took a nice big break, and then I had to come back. Yeah, so he's off the screen, and I walked away, and he caught me because he was looking in that direction. I wasn't hidden enough, you see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's really hard to do that kind of thing fun. Because, if you can't tell what the rules are for getting spotted, This is just kind
Yeah,
of
so
a really bullshit thing to have to do.
yeah, and as you can hear now, I'm just playing it in fast forward because I am frustrated. Yeah, this is what we're doing. Nope. There was an edit out there where I tried to get him to reset a couple of times and it didn't take, and then I went back to looking at the guide and it told me that, oh no, if you get caught at any point, you have to completely reset everything by going to the fishman, talking to the fishman, following the fishman to the muscle man's house, and waiting for him to start all over again. So, I'm just fast forwarding, making sure he's completely gone. I learned that you can go in and out of buildings to advance him further ahead. It's I dare say I accidentally, started learning speedrun tech on this section.
Speaking of stealth missions, I accidentally did one in real life on Thursday.
Oh.
I was walking to visit JD in Central Square, and I had parked my car and I was walking up River Street, and there was a guy in front of me smoking some of the skunkiest weed I've smelled since it became very easy to get weed.
It's okay. Here. Pause for a sec, because sure. I have also found that since, it has become easy to get in my state as well through various legalization methods, I have started smelling, the most horrific skunky weed ever, just on the regular when I go outside to run or take a walk to the pharmacy, I don't, what one would have thought otherwise, but anyway.
Yeah, but I was not trying to sneak behind this guy. But I was walking a respectable normal distance behind him for quite a while, and then we got to an intersection with some traffic, and I guess my foot scuffed the ground and he heard me for the first time, and I scared the shit out of him. I got he had the Metal Gear red exclamation mark over his head. What? And he was like, "Oh, geez," and then he burst out laughing. And he said, "Sorry, I was really in my own head." And I laughed as well. Because I do walk fairly quietly. I accidentally startle my husband all the time without meaning to. It does not help that he also has a very low startle threshold. If we'll be in the room together, and if I haven't said anything for 5 minutes, because we're both reading or whatever, and I say something, he will jump as though I just burst out of a cabinet or something. I
love that, as he is a fairly big dude.
Yeah,
that is adorable.
It is really funny.
I purposely, so I worked, as I'm sure and what with admitting I was a teacher. I spent the better part of my early teen through finishing college years working with youth. I'm basically like a cat. There's a reason, you have seen me where I have lots of things clipped to my belt key holder thing, so I'm very jingly jangly, and that's by design. Because from working with youth, I want them to hear me coming, because one, you never working with youth want to be alone in a room with a kid, and also two, you later learn that if you're doing something stupid, I want you to hear me coming, so by the time I get there, you've stopped and it's not my problem.
Yeah.
And I keep that up as an adult, walking around the street. Just, I would love everybody at the, 2 blocks away to hear, my weird jingle jangle stomping and clomping coming.
Yeah, no, I think, I'm coming, so whatever stupid shit you're doing is not my problem.
Yeah.
It's a decent philosophy for moving through the world in general.
I'm not interested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
I just want to go to the store.
Yeah.
Looking up the hiding spots in this one also felt a bit when people post perhaps they're goofs, perhaps they're not, online Final Fantasy boss encounter safe zone things of the quadrants of the rocks you need to be at to hide from him. Yeah, this was just a real wonderful time that I loved, and you have to do it.
Of course.
There's so one of the recurring things in Dragon Quest started to be the Mermaids, who give you their MacGuffin harp that lets you take your boat underwater or just breathe underwater or go underwater. And that's ultimately what we're trying to get to, because who'd have thunk it in the fishing town Pescado, there's a mermaid.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, right? It's not one of those, reverse mermaids with the top as a fish, unfortunately. It's, your standard Hollywood mermaid. It's very much an Ariel.
Yeah. Hollywood creating unrealistic body standards for fish people.
Look, it stands to reason, right? If there's enough mermaids, tramping around with a human top and a fish bottom, there's got to be a couple where it went the other way.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's all but guaranteed. And if you're bored, just imagine one of those people running around, because it's a very funny mental image to picture a fish with human legs, just kind of running around like Coney Island docks or whatever.
Yeah. I'm no geneticist here, but I am kind of a numbers guy, and the probability tells me it's got to happen at least once or twice. Still fast forwarding to make him go. Like this is fast forward. This is still terrible. And I believe there are a couple of he pauses at the door and looks back gotchas that at least the guide, and I read the guide many times before I did this to make sure I didn't just completely bone it again, that they warn you about. I was like, this is just terrible. But that's what they do. So yeah, we find the magic button, we push the button, the thing opens, and we go in, and we'll see our weird fish man, talking with the mermaid. It's horrible. I got so angry doing this. There was a time, all right, when I would get angry at a Dark Souls and just load up cheat engine, right? And give myself, just infinite poise and stamina and just run around like a maniac. Cause I just needed a win, I needed a win really bad. And I didn't get there, but hot stealth action Dragon Quest VI was needling me, It was really...
Yeah, there's nothing more excruciating than a stealth sequence in a game that's not a stealth game.
Yeah, I'm playing this to talk about Erdrick, maybe do some time travel, hang out with some slimes,
Yeah.
Get a dragon or a dragon lord, slay him. Just hot stealth action, no.
Yeah, less stealth, more slime. I say it all the time.
And again, so part of my break with this was I streamed 8 hours of Dragon Quest XI, and there were many times doing that, and this is one where it's in 6 there was a stealth thing, and if you screwed up, you had to do it all over again. In this one, you just get a fight with some, low-level enemies, and you move on. They punish you with 30 seconds of time lost, and you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
Fine, acceptable. It's not no, you must do it perfectly. Which, from watching skilled people play Metal Gear, I can appreciate where you really blow it. You can still punch your way out of this bag. It's gonna suck, but you can.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it, right? It's in most stealth games, there's usually a way to recover, either by running and hiding somewhere else, or fighting your way out of it, or throwing down a smoke grenade, or something, as opposed to just oh, you failed, start over.
It's also still fast forwarding because you have to leave that area, go to the town, get your ship, sail into it again. By the way, so there's a lot of fast forward. I was very, very frustrated. Yeah, my favorite of the no, you can punch your way out if you screw up has to be Hitman. I love watching high level people playing Hitman is beautiful. I found a guy, and I wish I could think of his name because I would love to let people go watch it. I want to say it was an Australian man, maybe an English or an Irish man. I don't know, but he had an accent, all right? Who only would play Hitman trying to just murder every single NPC in the level. And dude, I watched that guy for 8 hours one day because it was just it was Fry doing, Bender doing go man go to Fry, eating that turkey off his head, eating the cereals. I needed to know where this was gonna go.
I definitely did that with some of the older Hitman games. Just, did my perfect run, and then I was like, what if I did?
What's the worst?
What's the opposite of perfect? But
so
a negative 100%.
I'm gonna succeed, but I want to do it in just the most ass way possible.
Yeah, and also, can I kill everyone without anyone knowing that it's happening until it's their turn?
Yeah.
So there's just one guy alone patrolling
the
hallway.
A mermaid that's as big as our ship.
That's it's kind of cool.
It's a big lady. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Geoff and I had Hitman when we were living together. That said, we didn't get as into Hitman as we did making Jason Voorhees and Creighton Duke in whatever discounted NHL PlayStation 2 game because it wasn't the current one, and having them, play various international teams. That and, of course, playing whatever was the latest, wrestling game. Yes, her name's Ova, like an egg. Would you like an egg in this trying time? Oh, just in case, don't read it because it's gonna hurt you. Yes, the mermaids rhyme. That's their thing. They rhyme. They rhyme in all the games. Do you like that? They rhyme. It's a good gimmick, right? It's good.
It's great. It's great.
Makes you happy. Yeah. So, yeah, it's sure. Yeah, the mermaids, over and under, get it? See, so we got an egg joke, an over/under. We got a gambling joke. This is some stuff.
I wonder how much of that is localization, just trying to pad out some puns that didn't translate.
I'm not sure. Now, I have somehow managed to attract a few, native Japanese speaking people with my Dragon Quest malarkey, at least through Twitter. None of which I've reached out to ask some questions I have about translation localization of the game. But that one, and there's a couple of things in 11 that I definitely have questions about, like how did that read in the original Japanese release? But I don't know. I know it's a fan translation, but I think about Mother 3, where they had the mice that speaked it wasn't Cockney rhyming, it was an even more archaic, one of that.
Yeah.
So in the original release, they spoke some, Japanese rural dialect that I think it was most people would have no idea what it was. So I'm going to say there was at least some analog there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this is the Fashion Forge.
Ooh.
Yeah, we do not yet have the ability in Dragon Quest to build our own weapons and items. That's not going to come until 8, but this kind of starts the idea of upgrading. I have played enough of 7 to feel confident, at least in my, at this point, somewhat boozy brain, that they really don't have that there. He keeps talking about fabulousness and style increasing. Would you believe that there's a fashion show minigame in Dragon Quest VI?
I would, because I don't think you'd lie to me about something like that.
Yeah. Would you believe that it's mandatory?
I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of things are optional in this game, so again, I'm not too shocked.
So it's not in this video, I believe. I believe next video is when I get to it. I might do a little of the Slime Fight Club in this one. Slime Fight Club is optional. However, if you know what the rewards that you get are, you want to do it. Because you get, end game items early. You get this thing, the Sage's Stone, which is basically everybody in the party, and in some games, everybody, including the people in the wagon, get 200 health points back for free, and you can use it infinitely, right? So you want to get that. But the fashion show is mandatory, you have to only do 2 levels, or maybe 3 out of 8. There's 8 for the Fight Club and the fashion show to get the plot item. But it's one of those things, like, at that point, it's like, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's do this. I'm just gonna engage in fashion. I believe I had 45 to 48 minutes of fashion show that I trimmed down to 20 to 25. And
That's a lot of fashion show.
And that is with using fast forward.
What is the mechanic for the fashion show? Like, what are you actually doing?
Okay, so there are fashion events where men, women, monsters, or anybody can compete. Oh yes, we're in Slimeopolis, which is Slime Fight Club. Okay, we are going to see some Slime Fight Club. Here we go.
Okay, yeah.
So your style points have to meet a certain threshold in the fashion show to come in first place. There's 5 competitors, and don't worry, you have to see every time the first 4 competitors strut their stuff on that catwalk before you do. Yeah. So yeah, these are slime knights, which, right, they look like knights, and there's a guy on, and he's kind of okay. He's kind of like bareback riding a horse, just grabbing his legs, and then he also hits you with the slime. There's a lot.
That's actually kind of fun. I like that as a move.
In 11, you can ride the slime knight. But here's the thing:
you can ride the slime knight, not the slime.
You ride the slime, and you use the slime knight as a weapon to swing at enemies.
You swing the entire knight.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
And if you successfully hit them, you gain initiative in the battle.
I do like these sassy wild carrots, by the way.
They are good. They are good. And our slime knight is Gawain. Why not? It's
of course, of course.
Gawain and the Green Knight, right?
Yeah.
Back when I was in high school, I tried to get into the greater works of Mr. Tolkien, and I had Silmarillion. I had Gawain and the Green Knight. I didn't finish either of them. I think that was about when I discovered you don't have to finish a book you started reading.
Yeah, I think actually the Silmarillion was probably one of the first books I didn't finish either. Because first and foremost, he was a linguist and a mythology, expert, and he was just like, I'm gonna write my own mythology and not in a narrative way. And the kids I knew in middle school who were really into the Silmarillion specifically
that's a choice to really be into.
It is a choice, and they went on to get really good at chemistry in high school, and then instead of going to college, just start making meth.
Oh, okay. I mean,
it's the Silmarillion to meth factory pipeline. You start reading about the history of the elves, and you break bad.
Yeah, I guess. So while Gawain is wrecking, I don't know. Hey, let's getting fit as you push 40. Aging without grace. You've been an active guy. You were doing martial arts for a bit, and I'm guessing you took a pause as everything shut down. I was getting to the point where I was thinking, so as a kid, I regularly, because, of course I saw The Karate Kid. I mean, come on, we all did.
Of course.
Inquired about, taking martial arts as a child. And, I'd go to the first couple sessions where they let you, sit in and see the class, see if you'd like it. And I remember asking my mom, who is racist, I was just confused because, and I was a child. All right. And I didn't understand, why, I don't get, so why are they counting in Japanese? And it was basically, it's like, well, that's all they speak there. So, if you don't want to learn Japanese, you really shouldn't be trying to take karate. And so I didn't take karate because I thought you had to speak Japanese to take karate. So that's like the tip of the iceberg, really and truly, of horrific things regarding race and ethnicity I have heard from my mother over the years. But I was getting to the point where I was like, maybe I'll get into a class. They have adults, for fun, whatever, grappling, what have you. And then breathing on people in close proximity. It's just I'm good on that. I don't think that's ever gonna be a thing. So like, just lifting weights. I have a heavy bag. I need to get a chain so I can mount it again. I don't have any like low ceiling posts I can screw it into anymore.
Yeah, I got a free. You've probably seen it in the basement, in the den. The freestanding bob bag.
Oh yes.
Which is good because one of the things I learned taking MMA was that like hitting an actual person can be kind of challenging because
the
geometry does not always line up very well.
Yeah. They move. They hit back. You know.
That too. But even just like you punch a bag. The bag's always at the right angle to be punched.
We just beat up the furry Vega, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, I saw that guy. But yeah, I've been off of MMA for a while because I had slipped the tendons in my biceps. I was like, oh, I'm really flexible and I'm going to use that to my advantage in jiu-jitsu. And the thing about being too flexible in the shoulders is you're also much more likely to like slip a tendon because you're too flexible. Like there's like if you're not flexible enough, you can tear something.
That's probably
if you're too flexible, you can get your shoulder in a weird position, and then like it's fine, and then someone like tweaks the position of your arm just a little, and suddenly your biceps not in the right groove anymore.
It sounds like when I went in to finally get my sciatica checked out after I slipped a disc, and they raise your leg up. I don't know if have you ever done the sciatica test?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so you're laying down on the table. They start raising your leg. Like, let me know when it hurts. Like, stop right there. They're like, oh wow, you're like exactly at the degree they tell us about in the book and everything. Like, yep.
Yeah, when I was getting my arms checked out, I was like, oh, like I get this pain in like the front of my shoulder, but only in really weird specific motions, and it's hard to recreate. And the guy being an expert was like, okay, put your hand on your opposite shoulder like this, angle your elbow like this, and he's like, I'm gonna push down on your elbow, you try to stop me. And I'm like, okay. And he pushes my arm down, and he's like, did that feel like off? And I was like not really. He's like, try the other arm. And I did the exact same thing, and he goes to push on it, and I'm like effortlessly stopping him from pushing on it. And I was like, oh shit, I did not realize it was that screwed up. And then, because he was a surgeon, he said, what we can do is cut the tendon off of your shoulder and anchor it in with a screw. And I'm like, well, what's that going to be like for me after that? And he said, oh, it will actually be just as good as before. You won't really feel a difference. And I said, really? And he's like, yeah.
Something tells me, you're gonna feel a little different when you got something attached with a screw.
Yeah, and I was like, my main goal was to be able to get back into things.
Yeah, and I say that as somebody who like, at 20 years ago, had to have a hernia fixed, and like I got the mesh that like dissolves, and scars open to hold it in instead of the metal, which is good because they wanted to give me the metal originally. So I went to a second opinion. Yeah, the stuff that started getting recalled, fucking great. And he's like, we do that for men that we think are gonna die. You are 19 years old, man. Just no, you're fine.
Jesus.
Yeah, like no.
Yeah.
And
well,
like
I talked to
that still hurts. And that is like scar tissue my body's built. I imagine the screw. Yeah, you're gonna feel that.
Yeah. So I talked to a mutual doctor friend of ours.
I'm imagining it's who I think it is.
Yes, it was. And
I got a story about him in a second.
He said to me, he said a surgeon's never going to not recommend surgery because that's their job. Is the thing they're good at. It's also how they bring in money. So I asked the shoulder guy again. I was like, well, I'm gonna think about the surgery. Are there any like exercises I can do in the meantime? And he's like, oh yeah, let me print out a list of like things you can do with resistance bands. And I did those, and the problem went away. And I don't have that issue anymore.
Nice. Yeah.
I took a break from martial arts and just got back into pure weightlifting. and then that was put completely on hold by the pandemic.
Yeah. We're about to die here. This is our, we took our run. Oh well, we'll fix it later. So yeah, our mutual surgeon friend is the one that recommended me to the feller that helped me with my sciatica. And then later, when I really messed up my shoulders raking my roofs, because I lived in Maine where you have to rake your roof because the snow will cave it in, he did the whole thing. And, knowing, our mutual friend, he could, kind of goof around with me a bit. I was like, did I tear it? He's like, you didn't tear it, but it's like really, really, really just beat up. It's like, is that a medical opinion? Yeah. And he gave me a pamphlet of, stuff to do. Because, again, he was not a surgeon. He was, like a sports therapist, physical therapist. And wouldn't you know it, I did them. And with eventually doing, weights and stuff, it's a lot better. Way better.
Yeah.
But it was at the point I was doing student teaching when it happened, and I would go to points to a student or to an example on the board, and they would see me just kind of collapse, and it got to the point I was just sticking my right hand in my pocket so I wouldn't point, and asking them to yell at me if they saw me take my hand out of my pocket.
Yeah, I'm torn because my MMA gym has reopened. They closed not because of COVID. They closed before that due to rent being bullshit.
Yeah.
But they've reopened in a new location.
Metro area. Get out of here.
I know, right? They've reopened, and a lot of the guys I used to train with who did not stop like I did are now coaching there, which is pretty cool. But I'm also I felt old going to that gym 6 years ago. I don't know if I'm quite ready to fight guys literally half my age. Yeah. And so my goal right now is to just try to get back into shape a bit, because this winter especially I've just been I've been a lazy piece of shit all winter.
That was I took 3 months off of running because I got to the what's the point phase of that and weight gain. And I was just I don't really feel like running. It just it's the cold. I broke my treadmill and I didn't feel like getting back into winter running. It's when I was in Maine, it's 10 months out of the year it sucks outside. You get used to it, Here, it's not that bad. It's just I don't want to go out, in a suit to deal with this. It's weights.
I don't know what it's like down there, but it has been really fucking icy this whole winter.
Yeah, it's much more like ice wind than.
I actually our driveway is really steep.
Oh yes, you have a great driveway.
For the listeners at home, I have
I'd say you got about a 40-ish degree incline.
Yeah, it's illegally steep. We learned we're not in any we're not in trouble. We're grandfathered in, but
yes, as
they can't make a new driveway that steep. So I was shoveling it, and I fell. I just
oh no!
I was standing I was 90 degrees from the slope, if that makes sense. I wasn't facing up or down the driveway.
Yeah.
But rather standing in my side, and I just both my legs just flew out from underneath me, and I. Hand to God, this sounds so pretentious, but my martial arts training, a big part of that was learning how to fall in a way that doesn't mess you up.
It's I just wrestling training. There you go.
Yeah, no, I just pulled my arms to my side and just protected my head and fell along the whole side of my body and got to get up completely unhurt.
Look, the worst fall I ever took was never something from wrestling school or when I maliciously used wrestling school stuff in a public place, but when I was riding on a goddamn escalator at one of the malls in the Boston area, and I jumped on Geoff's shoulders while going down an escalator, and then jumped off it at the bottom and broke my big toe in my right foot. Oof. And you know what? I had it coming, because one, I shouldn't have done that, and two, I was wearing Converse high tops.
Yeah, those shoes will not protect you.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm for. All right.
I actually love to lift weights in those because they are just a hard piece of rubber.
Yeah, flat shoes definitely. I have I got as teacher shoes because I was talking to my brother when he was still doing his strongman stuff about that like no bull company because I was getting targeted ads for them, and I had a couple of pairs of those as teacher shoes because they were flat, very padded, etc. And I have a pair of high tops that I like to use as my weight shoes because just flat and wide.
Yeah, no, that's what you want. Yeah, the worst fall I ever took was in jiu-jitsu, I think, and I was not even standing. I was like kind of crouched, and someone got the better of me, and I tipped backwards, and just without thinking, like put one arm out behind me to catch myself. And yeah, I caught my entire weight of someone shoving me backwards on one arm, completely bent behind me, and
F-Ma is a bitch, huh?
Yeah, my shoulder was really pissed off at me for about like a month or two. The funniest injury though was on the way back from kickboxing. I was walking from the bus stop to our apartment at Watertown. The sun was already down. It was summer. I was wearing flip-flops. It was dark. I was looking at my phone. Shitty New England sidewalk. There was like a sidewalk panel that had been lifted up about 6 or 8 inches by a root or whatever, and I just slammed my big toe right into it. And I'm certain I gave myself like a spiral fracture of some kind from that. But I thought it was hilarious that I was, literally fighting people with my feet, no problem, and then broke a toe just walking home.
That's how you do. It's the good Lord blesses the drunks. It's why when you're really just shit hammered, things are fine. But when you're sober and do a dumb thing. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. No.
we're gonna cash in those chips now.
And I was sharing that story to the rest of my gym, and one of the people there said that they had to sneeze, and to avoid sneezing on their dog, they turned their head and just sneezed hard enough with their head turned at an angle to like really mess up their neck for a while.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And I can really relate to the desire to mildly inconveniencing a dog at any cost, even your own life. Like, I totally get that.
All right, so this is as far as we're gonna go. We're gonna lose this fight. I remember this one. This one's a hell one. I jerry-rigged us with some, things that heal when you attack and all that. Yeah, this one's not going to pan out for us, unfortunately. But hey, we got 3 minutes of video, and as long as we want to talk, this is the perfect time to bring up Homestuck.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you know about Homestuck?
Okay, so
let's see if I can learn.
So I think the thing that I never knew that I think really made me understand what the hell I was looking at, because I didn't know this when I started reading it.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. I would look at it, and it was very much what am I? What? Yeah. What am I? What?
Well, I had an especially delirious experience because it's being printed and published on a physical volumes now, and that was my first actual exposure to it, other than hearing about it on the internet. So I went and I
definitely webcomic only version, definitely like what I knew it as a thing. Okay.
Yeah. So I like grabbed it and opened it up, and like I couldn't understand what I was looking at because it wasn't like sequential panels of a comic strip. There was just like text and pictures everywhere with no seeming connection or order, and I was like, what the fuck? So the thing to understand about Homestuck is that it was spun off of an earlier project by the author Andrew Hussey called MS Paid Adventures, and the gimmick was it was like a choose your own adventure novel or an old like interactive like adventure game.
Oh, sorry, I lied. This is the battle that stymies us.
Yeah, those two look like they're gonna fuck you up.
Oh yeah,
they're a cute couple though.
Or actually, no, I think we might get through this one. I think it might be the next one. Anyway, MS Paint Adventures.
Yeah, so MS Paint Adventures, Andrew Hussey would draw a panel and write some text about the scene, like you would get in like Zork or Spaceship Titanic, one of those, and then people on I think Something Awful would then like a bunch of people would post commands like get gun or shit your pants or whatever, and he'd just pick whichever one he thought was the funniest or the most interesting and draw another panel and write another block, and like was playing an interactive game with the internet. So Homestuck started the same way, and I didn't know this when I was reading it because like the link to the next comic is a command, and for
Okay.
like the first year of Homestuck, that's actually a command that someone submitted that he picked. So
this is interesting to hear because I don't know if you were a part of it, but one of Geoff's early offshoots of his original website was he had like a weird game thing that he made. Do you remember that?
vaguely.
Yeah, he made like a. I don't know if it was on 665 or it was something else, but he had like an interesting, weird game thing he did where there was web pages where if you went to like if you solved the solution and you went to the page, it would look like there was nothing there unless you were on like a 16 color mode or a monitor that could only display 16 colors. And with it, yeah, it was great.
It's an extremely Geoff thing to do.
Yes, it is. And it was, and also too, even with him, he was, that was the first time I was, the 100 Mikeys on a typewriter, but the internet version where he was like, yeah, it took me blah, 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 many months to do this. And hey, the video's done. We lost. Anyway.
All right.
And just, yeah, rip. And with all of the people working together, they cracked it in like 48 hours.
Yeah, and yeah, like Homestuck was definitely not the only thing doing this, but it was the one that just really took off, apparently. Yeah. And so like it, even after Andrew Hussey stops accepting reader comments, he is still writing commands, so it still reads like you're clicking through an adventure game. But it basically it starts out with like 4 kids are going to play a video game together. Okay. And then they basically get sucked into the video game, and the video game destroys Earth.
Okay. And Wikipedia does say that in the very beginning.
Yeah, and it just keeps kind of spiraling out from there. And I think that it can be really funny. Mm-hmm. It has all of the problems around race, especially, that you would expect from a webcomic with a large something awful devotee group.
I think it mentioned it. I'm out the Wikipedia page. I think fair enough as well for something that started in 2009 and ran until 2016. They're not the most,
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that is how white people of that age group were talking on the internet in 2009.
As a white man talking to a white man, that's how shitty everybody was back then.
Yeah,
and still is, but definitely was more acceptable then.
Yeah, it was
not okay, but acceptable to the collective asshole that was on the internet.
No one felt bad about it.
Yeah, there you go. It was the ironic detachment from feeling feelings.
Right, and that is up front and center in this comic. But it also does a very good job of giving each character its own voice, I guess I'd say. Is another thing that has stood out to me. And it is also exceedingly up its own ass with world building. Like there is so much lore and backstory and we first introduce time travel and then we introduce alternate realities, and I will I gotta say, like the time travel stuff feels like it is well thought out, but there's just too much of it.
I'm looking at a photo right now of Andrew Hussey, and he looks like a guy that I was in some of my upper level mathematics classes with, who was a dual major in mathematics and philosophy. And wouldn't you know it, he was the guy that, when we'd have like a night class and it was like, pushing 8 o'clock and the professor's like, oh, maybe we'll get out early tonight. We'd just ask some question that had nothing to do with anything. And like, dude, you could have stayed after we all got dismissed to have your weird philosophical of mathematics. And don't mind me, I've definitely engaged in, pure math, horrible discussions with JD before. But like, I'm not going to subject everybody else to that because that's a very niche thing to do.
Yeah, the Andrew Hussey was, I think, like a computer science person, because there's a lot of, I think, fairly funny, but incredibly niche jokes about, like queues and stacks and other data structures. Like, each kid has an inventory system based on a different data structure from computer science, and if that is making you roll your eyes, then this is not
I'm
the webcomic for you.
I'm not rolling my eyes at that, but I'm at the notable fan section, and one, Toby Fox I knew.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
of
he
course.
actually did a lot
I'm
of music for Homestuck.
Yeah,
Because
I
the one
see
thing I
that.
didn't mention is that a lot of Homestuck was Flash and animated and set to music, and honestly,
Ah,
pretty well choreographed to the music and pretty engaging, which means that it's almost impossible to read in its original format because there were some interactive parts too. So you actually have to download a fucking IDE, an integrated development environment, to
oh,
read
I've
this
heard about
comic.
people to run Flash now. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
So
there's a unofficial collection that includes the entire comic as well as a program that will run it and play the Flash and play the MIDIs and do all that and let you actually experience it more or less exactly as it was when it was released. Um,
so something I'm liking though of before I get to the other, red herring, and that I guess white whale, elephant in the room, whatever you want to call it. So right after the Toby Fox thing on Wikipedia, it says Amanda Brennan, an internet historian, has credited much of Undertale's initial success on Tumblr to Fox's association with Homestuck. I know Amanda Brennan in real life.
oh, really? Wow.
Amanda Brennan's somebody I know.
Huh.
Yeah, Amanda helped me. So if you don't know, my cat has an Instagram. I tried to make money off my cat Tuna for a while.
Yeah, I
That's our
remember. I
tuna.
remember that.
The problem with That's Our Tuna is everybody thought that sour tuna,
That sour tuna.
shot
Yeah.
myself in the that sour tuna. No. Uh, Amanda definitely helped that sour tuna become big on when he did have a Tumblr, but I was never able to make the bucks, and then Tumblr fell apart. So that's funny to see. But the elephant in the room is Dante Basco, Rufio from Hook, was such a fan of the webcomic that he became friends with Andrew Hussey, who then made Rufio with a silent H at the end a character
What?
based off of Basco's quote, typing quirks and personality.
I did not
There's
get
this
that far to meet
there's
Rufio.
get ready. There's a self-insert Dante Basco as Rufio in this coming at you.
Oh wow, that's exciting. Yeah, it is honestly pretty funny and generally enjoyable. I think the part that kind of loses me um, is like Andrew Hussey is acutely aware as he's working on it, just like the fan fiction community and the amount of attention it's getting on Tumblr, on Something Awful, and then on the official Homestuck forums. And so he is really just you know, quite beautifully playing those groups like a fiddle to get them more and more worked up. Basically, sometimes excited, sometimes, generally at this point, as far as I'm reading, anyways, really excited about everything. But it also makes me like I'm at a point where we've introduced 12 characters, each assigned to the zodiac signs.
Oh, I saw that up above. Hang
Yep.
on. Each of the 12 trolls is associated to a Western zodiac sign and a color.
Yeah, and
There we
and
go.
they're assigned to the zodiac in the way that the zodiac maps to real people, which is to say, you get what you want to find in there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just just like Harry Potter schools and which district you're from in the Hunger Games. It's just a way of giving fans a way of choosing a team or a side or a character.
I
And
I
it
had it. I had an ex that was way too into being House Slytherin, and I'm just gonna put that out there and say no more.
Yeah, well, yeah, no comment. But
Sorry. I'm gonna say some more. I have never read or seen a Harry Potter. Um, yeah, so would say that, would talk about it, like I don't know what that means. So that's really what that's it's not I mean, fuck a turf. Let's get that. I'll say
yep,
that.
fuck a turf.
Fuck that turf. Fuck that turf. Buy the books used if you want to buy them. So, that shitty turf don't get no money. But yeah, I was too old, sorry.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of the movies and that's it. But I was on Tumblr, not part of the Homestuck community, but I was on Tumblr as part of the gay community. And let me tell you, the for anyone about 3 to 5 years younger than me. The Harry Potter houses were their zodiac signs, and I got very tired of hearing about them. But anyways, I'm at a point where like the romantic entanglements of the 12 trolls, based on the 4 types of troll romance.
Wait. So would you say the trolls fuck?
No, because they're all kids, so they don't.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. And as I'm reading Wiki, it does say its plot centers on a group of teens who unwittingly bring about the end of the world by installing the beta version of upcoming computer game Spurb. So, I mean, maybe the trolls are, high school kids. I don't know.
There's a lot of discussion about like troll reproduction and how I forget the name of it, but basically a collector comes by with 2 buckets, and you fill the 2 buckets with the 2 fluids that are produced. But there's like relationships based on love and hate, and then sexual and non-sexual. There's like a quadrant.
Donnie Darko? What the?
It is. It's not that different from Donnie Darko in some ways, in that there's just a lot of like I not to get too tangential here, but I went when I saw the movie Donnie Darko, I really liked it, and I saw the original, the original release, which had been edited into something that made sense. And then I went to the website and read through all this all this fiction about all the like you have the seeker and the tentacle and all this like overwrought lore.
Here's what I had. I had the DVD, and when the DVD would display that stuff from the website, it would, at least on my player, which, was a Toshiba 2-disc DVD player. That way I could watch all of the Aqua Teen seasons and other TV shows, just without having to get up, because, who wants to do that? It would like be perfectly crystal clear for a second and then shift. And it would be like you were trying to read something on somebody's, IBM PC Junior. It was horrible. But that's what we did before internet everywhere. Donnie Darko is one of those movies that every time I watch it, I like it less. And definitely the last time I watched it had to be the director's cut, where the music is all horrible.
Yeah, the director's cut of Donnie Darko is an objectively worse movie. And have you seen? I forget the director's name. Have you seen his later works? Have you seen Southland Tales?
I was gonna say I have not seen Southland Tales, but I have seen the OSW review of it, because it is wrestling related, because The Rock's in it, so they did it, and oh my, that it's when it was in pre-production, the descriptions of it made it seem interesting, and then it came out.
It's exceedingly interesting. You will not be bored. Really, I would be remiss. Like, Geoff needs to be there when you see it. It might make you really mad, but is it as good as Cranked 2 High Voltage, which we also watched together as a group? Yeah, it's different, because Crank 2 is exactly the movie they meant to make. Like Crank 2 is what they were trying to do. The more I read about like what Southland Tales was supposed to be and like his vision for it, the more I think he's probably mentally ill, and B, like he did not succeed. He originally had said, because Donnie Darko was such a surprise hit that they basically gave him a blank check for Southland Tales, which was the worst thing
they do.
Yeah. Because he's like, okay, Southland Tales is actually part 3, volume 3 of this story. The first 2 volumes are a graphic novel that you will first need to read to understand the movie. And so they're at like fucking Sundance trying to hand out comics for everyone to read ahead of time. Obviously, not a single person touches them. No. So it is baffling. It has a lot to say about the Iraq War ? It is weirdly, I think, it is completely deranged, but it also really taps into the Bush era collective unconscious, like zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it, and it is touching something true, but is also completely nuts.
I started typing Southland Tales into Wikipedia, and I got the prompt for it. Do you mean Southland Tales, the prequel saga?
I certainly do not.
Let's oh my. Collection of 3 graphic novels produced to accompany the 2006
Oh,
feature
three, not
film
two.
Southland
Damn.
Tales. Yes, the graphic novels were written by the film's Richard Kelly. That's the
Richard Kelly.
name.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Uh,
he's a strange one. That one.
oh wow, you are really underselling this. Southland Tales in its entirety was conceived as a 9-part interactive experience.
Hmm.
The first 6 parts would have appeared as 6 100-page graphic novels released in a 6-month period leading up to the film's release in 2007. Get it? 666. The film, oh gosh, the film is the final 3 parts of the experience. And there was a website tied in.
Yeah, it's I mean, like,
Oh wait. The planned 6 graphic novels was reduced to 3
yeah, I'm reading right
available.
here. Kelly wrote them while making the film and found it very difficult as it pushed him to the edge of his own sanity. It
Buddy.
is a real like, maybe it's just cocaine, but like, it's a real maximalist kind of thing where I don't think a single idea did not make it into the film. Um, it's it's a very unique experience.
It feels very Blade Runner sequel where and Midge is away, so and maybe she can, maybe she can't. I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of Jared Leto and anything. And I made my own edit of the Blade Runner sequel where I just cut him out.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. It's a better movie if anything because it's like 15 minutes shorter. You lose nothing. Yeah, no, it's great.
No, I'm not a fan of Jared Leto particularly.
Yeah.
I did like that sequel though.
Yeah. Oh no, I like the movie. No,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the movie. Love that movie. Great movie. I have
Mhm.
I have the Blu-ray. I have this fancy Blu-ray that came with the DVD, so that
Ooh.
I was able to rip said DVD and edit it to my content. Um, but yeah, adds nothing. You know,
No,
the
yeah, and
old, the old.
he's just so distracting, frankly.
It's the old Star Trek: The Next Generation goes nowhere, does nothing too. That's what he is. Well, this was Dragon Quest. Brendan Fraser, Boston accent. Weightlifting is an old man. Peacemaker. Homestuck chat.
Yeah,
With Max
with a
and
bonus Southland Tales.
Southland Tales. Ooh, yeah. Because why not this black hole of content? Please donate to giving.mskcc.org. Talk about what your favorite topic was. They're not going to know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
won't, but it'll be funny.
Make sure to mention Southland Tales.
Please
use
mention that you're.
use promo code Southland Tales.
Let's see what the fields are. So I'm going there right now. You gonna click your donate button. Yeah, your information, title optional. Your title could be Southland Tales aficionado. Um, your first name, last name. Yeah, just in there. Kind of have fun. The optional. Your street two is an optional field. Just, talk about your favorite topic from it. Why not? You know, you can pay by credit card, checking account, or PayPal. That's options.
That's great. Something for everybody.
Why not? Yeah, there you go. That's the title of this episode. Something for everybody. Thanks, Max.
Thank you. It's fun to do this again.